need glasses. Here we go. All right. We have no picture, but we are working on picture. Come on. And we have a picture. Good morning, friends, and happy Monday. It's Monday.
Tis.
It is, yes. Happy Monday. Bloom is the first person here and says hello.
I knew you could do it, Bloom.
Hunting with Hildenbrand says, hey, wow. Okay, now all of a sudden everybody's coming. Lots of highs. We have a hi from Amsterdam.
Hello,
Our terrorist says, hello, how are you today?
I am doing good. How are you?
We have Bethany and Nixia here today. How are you, friends? What is the drawing of?
I am just testing out the, this is the Etchr Labs, the Perfect Sketchbook signature series. So if you guys remember, I finished the, oh, you guys didn't see that. I finished the cold press, the hot pressed one that we've been working
painting.
on. Yeah, the gouache one. So I finished that. And so now I'm going to be doing the watercolor one. They're both watercolor paper, but I'm going to be doing the one, this is going to be watercolor. And so I thought what I would do is, there's somebody on, hold on a second. Let me find it. There's someone on ArtStation who's literally selling AI generated steampunk girls which is just silly that anybody would pay money for it. But I was like, I think I'm going to take this kind of style and try to draw in this style. And so that's what I'm going to try to do just for fun. Because I'm like, I'm just trying this out, and I would see if I can kind of play around in this for fun. So I'm taking someone's AI generated theft of whether it's Lowish or anybody else or whatever they're doing. I'm just using that as an inspiration to see if I can do some sort of style like that.
So they're asking what style that is.
It's kind of a little anime. It's got a little bit of Art Nouveau, with the way the hair's flowing. It's a very digital style that's just really prevalent with, like I said, like artists like Lowish. It's a beautiful style. It's just not my kind of style. So
Typical.
Yeah, if I'm gonna do that, I need to look at something to. Like if someone says, "Can you draw anime?" I have to look at anime to draw
You don't
anime.
draw it with your
I
head.
don't. I'm not that kind of artist who can just have all of that information in my head to say, yeah, I can do impressionist. I can do this. I can do that. I need to observe what I'm doing. I've done Art Nouveau enough to be able to add the elements that I need to. But other than that, I really need to, I'd have to do this a lot to really kind of get a feel for it.
Okay. So Zoya is here and has been studying math a lot and is here for a little comforting voice time before taking an exam. So good luck. You've got this. Hudson is back after not being here for a while.
Welcome back, Hudson. We missed you.
How everyone's doing.
We're doing good. I did not like that.
Andrew says hello from Michael's Frame Shop in Southwest Ohio.
Welcome. Or yeah, hello.
Greetings from Germany. Hello from Jordan. Hello from Chicago. Wild Wings is such a big fan and says hi with so many exclamation points.
Well, hello.
I'm so glad I can watch the live today. I'm usually in school. That's Ciaran. Oh, Rar Kitty's been under the weather. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
The weather keeps changing. It can't decide what it's doing. It's bipolar. So it's one day it's hot and the next day it's freezing and the next day it's, I don't know, something else. So this person's going to draw with you. This is the first time Max, the creator, is going to be here on a live with us.
Welcome. This is a really weird style. Like, I don't know how the eyes are supposed to be shaped, and of course the AI is no help because it doesn't know anything about eyes either.
Or fingers. It likes to give people 10 fingers. Okay, so Lily Potter says, hello, people. I've got an art school interview for tomorrow. Any advice?
Oh, congratulations.
That's exciting.
I would just, obviously you're going to be bringing your portfolio, and I would just be yourself. I really have no advice personally on what to say or do because I haven't been to an art school interview in 40 years.
Did you have to do an interview?
Yeah, I had to meet with Barbara Bradley.
Wow, and she still let you in, huh?
Yeah, barely.
Yeah, interesting. I didn't know you had to do that.
Yeah.
Intriguing.
I had to bring my portfolio. And my portfolio looked good for a high school student because it was all basically photorealistic, realistic drawings from photos that were just, that was it. I was really good at that, but
your art contest stuff that you had done too.
Yeah, but I mean, I just really wasn't art school material.
Gail says, good morning from California. Marvelous Music Monday. How are you two doing? What do we have in store for today?
I am going to do some inks and watercolors. I don't know if I made the right decision in doing this style, but sometimes you're just like, what the heck, I'll give it a shot and we'll see. But I don't know if this is. I might not do justice to this style of art, and.
Let's see. Oh, Steph Nerd's here and Ellen's here.
Hey, Steph Nerd. Hey, Ellen.
Okay, we're gonna you were talking, so there's a lot of comments that. Oh, Rennie got a dip pen and loves it. Oh, good for you. Yeah, dip pens are fun for trying other inks and things like that. Oh, love those. Are you planning on doing something for Pride Month? I know you kind of did something like that in your hair journal, but I'd love to see more.
I never really planned this stuff out too much, but it's possible.
I keep telling you guys he doesn't plan until literally like 5 minutes before we're live, but everybody thinks you have this great master plan for the year, and I know, like...
Well, so the thing is that, in all honesty, I've been making online content now. We're coming up on 4 years. And
is it really?
2020 is when I started doing this on TikTok. And you start to go, what's going to make me happy? What am I in the mood for? And you start to think a little bit about stuff like that. Like how what do I feel like doing? I've been doing this kind of stuff. And you don't want, like, I didn't do Black History Month this month. This year I didn't do Women's History. And it's just, I don't want to have it seem forced, like, okay, every year I have to do this. Right. And so I think there comes a point where you're saying, I want to do something because I want to do it. And so I'm just, we all get burnt out. We all have our own things that we gravitate towards. And so I'm figuring it out. So we'll see. Like Donna says, I don't know.
He literally doesn't know one day from the next. Okay, we're going to blow through a bunch of comments because we have missed a ton. So we are going to go back a little bit and we are going to blow through stuff. Hot press paper is more smooth. Cold press paper is more bumpy.
Yeah, you
Anybody
can see
asking
this
for?
is really bumpy.
Okay, you really need to stop talking because you are so verbose right now. Let me blow through some questions. Hold your thoughts. Okay. Mark is having his art displayed at school. Good for you.
Fantastic.
Today's tea is the Harrods Knightsbridge blend tea, and that is what we are drinking. Hello from Czechia. Lots of people are off of school today. It's President's Day in the U.S. Lula from the Tea Foundry says, good morning.
Good morning.
Jammy Art loves your videos.
Thank you.
Hello from Massachusetts. A lot of people loved your eye video about the eyes, which is
great.
good to know. Yeah.
Not very useful for this video, for this piece of art, but okay.
Scott doesn't really like to draw things that are horror, but monsters are not off the table. We talked about doing a podcast, but I don't think Scott could talk that long. He can barely get enough into a 1-minute video. Battlebrooks is back. Oh, been in an art slump.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what? It's okay. Everybody goes through them. You're okay.
Having a kind of a headband.
Quincy says, hi from the Netherlands. I'm on a train after a long day of painting, crocheting, etc. Now going home. Love watching your videos and lives.
Oh, that's great.
They're saying that this drawing looks like they're from a Disney movie.
Yeah, maybe.
Leon finished a sketchbook and is going to be starting a new one. Good for you.
Hey, fantastic.
Very exciting for you. Scott, I was thinking of buying the Etchr Lab cold press watercolor block. Do you have any advice on watercolor or advice about the paper?
Drink something, dear.
I'm gonna leak out.
I think Etchr Lab makes wonderful stuff, and if you can afford it, they're very good. I find that for me, cold press doesn't really matter the type of paper. The paper isn't as important if you're going to be doing gouache. So, like, I will use anything for cold press. That said, Etchr makes really good stuff. Mm-hmm. If you can afford Etchr Labs, they're a smaller company, and the reason why the stuff is more expensive isn't for exclusivity. It's because they're a small company and they're trying to make the best possible stuff, and they don't have, I don't think, the resources to get their prices lower. Yeah. The paper they're using is Italian made. The covers are vegan. They're doing everything right. They're doing everything like we want to make the best stuff possible. And unfortunately, it means it's a $75 sketchbook.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't spend $75 on a sketchbook. I get anxiety sometimes with my $15 sketchbooks. I just think I would have even more anxiety on a $75 sketchbook. That said,
makes sense. It makes total sense.
Yeah, if you have the means to do it, I would say, yeah, they're very good sketchbooks.
I think it's an economies of scale thing when you have companies that are smaller manufacturers that make a good quality product. They have to charge more. They're not like somebody who's a huge company like Blick can go ahead and make their own sketchbooks and do their own things, but they have economies of scale, so they have a lot of money behind them in order to go ahead and mass produce things. They can buy stuff in bigger quantities and can go ahead and do things like that.
Yeah.
So everybody always says shop small, and it is important to shop and support creators and support companies, even if you're going to spend a little bit more money sometimes, if you can. But that being said, we get it that it's expensive out there too. So hello from Germany. Love your drawing style.
Thank
the
you.
cold press paper, how is it treating you?
It is very rough. It's like working on gravel, but watercolor loves this kind of paper. It's just, for me, the pencils and the inks are going to be very rough. But once I have those down, I think the watercolor is going to be very nice on it. It's very thick. It's really nice. I prefer the texture of the Be Creative, which is you could see much less textured. Can you guys see the difference in texture?
Now, can you lift it up closer to the screen? There we go. Now we can see it. Wow.
These are just bigger bumps. This
Yeah.
has some texture. This has a lot of texture. But
Does the texture bother you with the pencil?
yeah. It's it feels like it's skipping around. It
does?
feels like
Okay.
like hot press and a colored pencil is the smoothest. It just glides. It feels so good, but it's those two things just really don't have any use to work together. You don't really need hot press and colored pencils.
Molly sent you a tip and says, I'm at IHOP. What should I get?
Oh, first of all, thank you. Second, is it the Grand Slam? I think
That's Denny's.
Denny's. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well, whatever's similar to that, I would get. Something where you get waffle or pancakes, eggs, bacon, some toast,
Okay.
orange juice.
I'm no and no on any of those. First of all, I'm allergic to eggs. Full disclosure.
You're not the one asking the question.
Second of all, no, it was not. It was not definitive to whom should answer the question. International House of
Waffles.
Pancakes. It's not Waffle House. It's International House of Pancakes. You eat pancakes at International House of Pancakes. Pancakes. And if you really want to do it right, you get pigs in a blanket where they put little sausages and roll up your pancakes, and then you eat it together. After you slather it with butter and lots of
It's
syrup.
not in an International House of Pigs in a Blanket.
Dude, it's a pancake with a pig in the middle of it.
It's not International House of Pigs in a Blanket.
It
though.
could be. It's IHOP. It's closer than.
If you can't
excuse
have
me,
a waffle.
IHOP. It's not IHOW.
It's not IHO Pigs in a Blanket.
But it could be, because it's a whole heck of a lot closer to a pig than it is to a waffle. Anyway, I digress.
So I'm trying to figure out the shape of the hair.
Okay. Blizzard and Cactus Studios made a comic book and wants to show you. How can they do that?
We have a Discord. You can tag me.
probably
There's
the
an
best way to
email
do it.
contact information. If you've posted anywhere, you can tag me, and I will do my best to see it.
Let's see.
So the hair's coming
Comment
around
from
here.
Miles: stepping out of your comfort zone is always important for an artist.
Yeah.
Very, very true. Hi from Sweden. I have this watercolor sketchbook as well. That's Lindsay.
Oh, fantastic.
Yay! Do you like it?
So it's kind of like you're looking at the flow of water.
Oh.
So I'm trying to see how, like where's the tension. You don't want like abrupt stops, like you want, see how this is kind of flowing around like that. That's what you're looking for. Like right here, I think I want this to kind of maybe kind of go like that a little more. Which means I'm going to get rid of
Excuse me.
that. But I think it would be kind of nicer if it's got...
Minu is 10 years old, loves your art, and has been making art since they were 2.
Wow!
Just think of the history you're going to have when you're 25. Look at all those sketchbooks you're going to fill up and all that art you're going to have. I'm so excited for you. Maya is a 12-year-old artist and draws a lot of anime, manga style, LGBTQ things, and a lot of people don't like what I draw. Any recommendations?
We're human. We want people to like the art that we create. So, you're totally normal for wanting that. Mm-hmm. But speaking as someone who gets hate, I can't say I get hate all the time, but I get people saying my art sucks. I get people saying that, I'm just not very good. And that's on top of me saying that to myself every day. You have to make art for you first. The only reason to make art is to make art that makes you happy. Don't make art to make other people happy. Make art to make you happy. And once you're okay with that, you'll learn to avoid the people who are telling you that your artwork isn't good or that you're not talented and whatnot. And you'll just keep you'll find a group of people. You'll find your audience somehow. It took me
40 years.
50 years.
Yeah.
You know, because I didn't start to find my audience until 4 years ago. So
Yeah.
I was 51 years old. It's hopefully it won't take you that long. But what I'm saying is that I kept making art that made me happy until I found an audience that also liked the same kind of stuff. It's like if you played country music and you were in a place that listened to rock and roll or jazz, you wouldn't be appreciated. But if you move to Nashville, you know, you're gonna find people who like the same kind of music you do. It's the same thing with your art. You have to find the people who like the same kind of art you do. And so don't listen to people who tell you that your art is bad or anything along those lines.
Savannah has a new sketchbook and is afraid to start using it.
You gotta. There's a video I have where I talk about how I do a nice picture on the front page. This is my travel journal.
Yeah, you
so
do.
you
Yeah.
see, I'm sketching whatever I'm sketching. But on the first page, I always do something nice. Find a nice picture. Find a nice. It could be a work of art from a master. You can go and find a Van Gogh or a Monet that you really like, and just do that, and that'll be your inspiration. Do a study, and do that, but something nice, and in that way, okay, you've got it started, and everything after that can just be a sketch.
And it goes the same even if you're not an artist and you're going to write in a journal or you're doing a travel journal or whatever you're doing. I print out a really long quote and I paste that into the beginning of every writing journal that I start. And then guess what? It's not perfect anymore. It's already got something pasted in it.
Yeah.
And you can just go for it. Colleen says, thanks to me, she has a 2-cup-a-day habit of tea. My work here is done. We can just mic drop and walk out. I'm good. All good. All right. Yes, Scott uses hot press for gouache and cold press for watercolor.
And that is just my preference. There's no right or wrong.
There is not. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Spanish Sass is here with us today.
Oh, hello. How is she feeling?
Are you feeling better? How are you doing, friend? If you had a preference, would you prefer hot or cold press paper?
Well, I like to work with watercolors, I think, the most. So I would definitely work with cold press, but I don't like very textured cold press.
In other words, he's really picky.
Persnickety.
Oh, gosh. All right. Nova knows nothing. Hello, firstly, love your art, and can you please give some insight on not having a definite art style? I've been bothered by it for a while, and I end up giving up midway because it doesn't turn out as good as I think.
I don't have a definite art style either. You know, I there's a video called My Art is a Mosaic, if you want to take a look at that. And that kind of shows you where all of my inspiration comes from, where my personal style comes from. But I don't think artists should have a, like, I do Art Nouveau or I do anime. I don't think that's how it works. I think all of our art is an amalgamation of different art and artists that we like.
Yeah, watch the My Art is a Mosaic video. Tracy says, last night I was doing laundry and heard my 8-year-old shout, Bullet Man! again. And then a large thump as my kiddo jumped across the room. It was hilarious.
Oh, I
that's
love that.
fantastic. Today we are using watercolor.
Hopefully we'll get to watercolors.
Yeah, we may not get to watercolor today. We may be here doing this on Wednesday.
Figuring this.
They would like to know what pencil you are using right now and what incredibly lovely, wonderful person could have given you such a wonderful pencil.
This is the, is it Kuratoga Advance, and this is the Miyazaki Studio Ghibli version that Donna got me. There's a video on that as well. So you see how I'm finding the little negative shapes, like see this little triangle here and here. I'm getting these hairs to kind of cross over to create these.
Wait, question. Is a negative shape a shape that's inside of another thing?
Yeah, it's the space in between spaces.
The space
See?
in between.
Yeah, so you've got this space. We're going to have this one here. But I'm doing that by finding the flow of the hair. You know, here's a space here. I might create another little one there. And like some of these are not as pleasing to me as others. I might, I'm not sure if I'm in love with this little part right here. It feels a little forced.
I was just gonna say forced.
I might get rid of this here, so that way the flow.
What was it about that bothered you?
It's too like the parts are kind of clashing. They're kind of coming to like a hard line right here. You don't, with Art Nouveau, you don't want hard lines. That's more Art Deco. So you want, instead of this,
it's not flowy enough.
You want that.
Okay.
And so this should come up here and come down here, and so therefore this needs to kind of do that. You see?
You want to hear something funny? The other day I was looking at some architecture thing that had popped up on Instagram, and I was looking at it, and it was Art Deco. And I was like, you know what? I'm not fond of Art Deco in artwork. I like Art Nouveau.
Yeah.
But when it comes to architecture,
Art Deco's better, yeah.
I love Art Deco. It translates different for me depending on what it is.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
It is. Okay, so see how this is kind of coming to a right angle?
Oh, now you're not happy with that one.
So now I don't like that. So I got to figure out how to get that over there. So I think this is nice. And
let's see. They're art movements, Nico. You can Google Art Nouveau and Art Deco because it would be way too hard to explain. It's a visual. You have to see the visual. Frago says, I call that a kissing line or a tangent.
yeah.
Do you ever think about retiring? Scott will never retire because if he does, he will drive me insane. He cannot retire. Yeah. Oh boy. Advice on making a living. I'm only 2 years from graduating high school, so I'm starting to get really worried about how I'm going to make it in the real world.
I just made a video about that.
Yeah, that's
just
valid.
go look under videos. In case any of you haven't noticed, by the way, I am not making shorts anymore. Not only, like, I'm never going to make a short, but
Yeah.
I am making videos. So if you can just set your notifications or whatever, because I'm trying to make longer videos, and I just made one on career advice. They're only 3 minutes long. They're not that long, but
Yeah.
I haven't been able to come up with stuff to talk about.
We have seen the Blues Brothers. Apparently, I'm influencing a lot of people to drink more tea. How do you make friends as an autistic kid?
I was never very good at it, and I think
Not.
a lot of it is finding somebody who is weird like you. You know, I found friends who liked me for me, and we just remained friends for life.
Yeah. And friendship waxes and wanes. You know, sometimes
Yeah.
you're really close, and sometimes, you know, over the years, and sometimes you're both busy doing your own things. But I think we can both count on one hand the people who would be there for us if we called and said, hey, we need you. There's a handful of people. It's a small handful,
Hold on.
but that's really all you need. Okay. Rivi sent you a tip and says, being autistic, do you find you have a harder time navigating / understanding interpersonal conflict? Feel free to skip if too personal. Love you both.
Interpersonal conflict. I don't know if I don't know.
He does.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if...
You do.
What?
You don't recognize the signs sometimes about what other people are going through, and it has caused, over the years, it has caused some issues with us, because I've read some books over the last 6 months or so about being partnered with, having an autistic partner, like a neurotypical partners and autistic partners, and there are just things that you've done over the years, that things that I've recognized that raise my eyebrows, and I'm like, okay, well, I just thought it was always your little quirk, but it's definitely something that someone with autism would do. And so
Okay.
even if he doesn't see it, the answer to that is yes. I think the important thing is that you have people around you that are going to be around you no matter what. It's not a situation where, like, oh, Scott was diagnosed with autism, so see ya, I'm out of here. It's like, oh, okay, great. For me personally, it explained a lot of things, but also it's, how do you navigate this now?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, he has one really, really good friend from high school who I adore more now than I ever have, who has been a support for me and wants to be there for Scott. But again, you go through life, and people who are, you find those friends, just don't let go of them, because those are your people and they'll be with you no matter what. And you'll know when you found them, because they're not going anywhere. A good friend is a rare and precious thing. Paul says, please, Scott, do longer videos. I'd watch 40 minutes of you throwing paint at a wall.
Well, I've made,
God,
I
that's
think,
funny.
4 or 5 of them recently, and
Yeah.
they've, out of the 2 million followers that I have, only about 25,000 of you have seen it. So,
Yeah.
if you can, please, look for them. I'll be posting them every other day, as often as I can. Go through my other videos.
Did you make a playlist of them, babe?
I did. There's a playlist, just called Scott's Videos.
Okay. So there you go. There'll be some longer ones, and you can
I will
check
say
that.
this: the ink is going on very smoothly. I'm very surprised. It doesn't
Really?
feel, it doesn't feel bumpy or scratchy.
Seriously?
Seriously.
You were really worried about how the ink
Yeah, it
was going to
was.
flow on this. I'll be doggone.
I mean, it's not really at all.
It's not affecting the ink at all?
No.
I'll be doggone. How's that possible? I'm not going to argue. Forget it.
Etchr Lab magic.
Globine says, gasp, he's inking. Well, you know what? That's exciting though, because I could have, I was certain that you were going to
Oh yeah,
hate it the
I
minute the
was.
pen hit the paper.
Well, the pencil was really rough. You could see a little bit of the texture there
No, we can't see it.
on the just the top edge, how it's kind of bumpy. It's not straight.
No, it's
Okay.
we can't see that. Okay, were the Artex markers the good beginner markers that you liked? The
No,
best ones?
no, that's Art Beak.
Art Beak. Okay.
Artex is the ones that
Oh, those are the acrylics, right?
acrylic markers. Yeah.
Okay. Rivi opens journal. People who will be around you no matter what. Thank you so much. That really helped. I'm glad. Just know it's going to be a small group of people.
Yeah.
But when you find them, that's all you really need. You just
Yeah.
need people who love you. That's it.
The hard thing, especially if you're an artist or anybody with any kind of talent, is finding people who want you for who you are and not what you could give them. Mm-hmm. So there are a lot of people who are only your friends so far as you're either making something for them, giving something, recommending, like introducing them to somebody, as long as you're helping them. And so keep that in mind. Just keep your eye out for that. That these are people who give to you when you need something, who are there for you when you need something. Because friendship is a two-way street. And there are some friends who need more than others. And, it's not always an even exchange, but...
It's not going to be even.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in a relationship. It's never going to be even. It's never going to be, I can't remember who, I think it was Michelle Obama. She was saying at one point, sometimes a relationship is 70-30 and sometimes it's 50-50. Sometimes it's 90-10.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're carrying your partner and a lot of times friends can do that for you too. Friends will be there for you. They'll walk with you through the hard times. And conversely, you walk through their hard times with them.
Yeah.
But that's honest to goodness, people. I mean, if we don't have that, look, you could have all the money in the world. Do me a favor. Look at all of these billionaires. All they do is spew bad things.
Okay, let's stay
or
on
opinions. No, I'm just I am on topic.
Okay.
Because you have money doesn't make you happy. Because you have whatever doesn't make you happy. But when you have people around you that you can be yourself with, people around you that you can talk to and enjoy their company and play a video game, drink a cup of tea with, whatever, those are the people that feed your soul and vice versa. And that right there is like the best thing in the world. At least in my opinion. I will completely put this as a caveat. In my opinion, that is what it's all about. And a dog. That and a dog. How would you deal with people who say your art has to be colorful and not creepy?
I would say there is no supposed to's, especially in art. Let me ask you this. Is that person your art teacher or your mentor? Or is it just somebody who thinks that they know more about art than you? That's really it. Take advice from people you respect and people you want to learn from and ignore all of the rest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And also, please remember, art is so subjective. Oh my gosh. So subjective. Things that I would like, Scott won't necessarily like.
Yeah.
Things that Bethany would like, I wouldn't necessarily like. It goes with all of our friends. Everybody has a different vibe, a different thing that they like. That's okay. That's why there's so many different art things in the world. When you are drawing with a mechanical pencil, what type of lead do you use?
4H.
How would you recommend I start studying anatomy?
My favorite thing is the 1 minute figure drawing classes. Figure drawing is the best. And I did a series of 1 minute figure drawing. And I would recommend at least starting with something like that.
What about those books that you
Yeah,
recommend on the
there's
resources page?
How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, and I think it's Constructive Anatomy that are on my website under resources.
Oh, good. Stefner just put in a link to How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way.
Great.
Thanks, Steph. The ink is turning out beautifully. I love how you drew her eyes and nose. Very cute.
Oh, thanks. You know, some of this is but I'm just
Clobine says, there was this one time that this student, same class as me, said, don't draw aliens, you're weird. And I'm like, and? Exactly. Then don't look at my paper if you don't want to see me drawing aliens.
yeah.
You know?
I think some people don't have filters and they don't know
I
that
think,
their words
but
hurt
filters
sometimes, you know?
filters are learned things. When you're young, you see that with kids, they don't have that filter, and it's up to the parents to teach them, like, you don't have to like everything, but
Yeah.
you can appreciate that someone else is making a beautiful piece of art.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have. We used to drive when we lived out in California like 100 years ago, and my boys were really, really little. And there would be this statue. It was this metal abstract art piece, and we would drive by it when we were going to the park. And one day, these little 3-year-olds in the back seat went, "Mommy, what's that?" And I went, "That's abstract art." And every time we would pass by it, they would go, "Abstract art," and they would point to it and look at it. They didn't, and it was a constant study of, you don't have to love it, but you can appreciate that someone took the time to make it.
Yeah.
That's it. So, anyway. Boy, a lot of really philosophical stuff for a Monday. My head's going to hurt when we're done with this. Let's see. Do you find any problems with sensory issues when you're working with certain art supplies?
Blow dryer is very loud. I don't like graphite. It's very squeaky. You touch it and it gets on you, you know, but I don't like the feel of rubbing my fingers on graphite. And I'm not particularly fond of the blending stick on graphite either. Surprisingly, the squeakiness of markers doesn't bother me, or the smell.
I would think the smell would bother you.
You would think.
Yeah.
But I just, it doesn't bother me. And yeah, there's other things, none that come to mind, but yeah, I'm sure there are.
Does the pencil sharpener ever bother you?
It's loud, but you know,
Everything's
it's
loud,
temporary. And
yeah.
I think when a noise is loud, but you're in control of it, like a blow dryer or a pencil sharpener, it's not as bad because you know, I could turn this off at any point. I'm turning it on. I'm making a choice to use this loud noise.
Okay.
It's when something is
out of your
control and it's either on and then it's off. And it's on and it's off. Or you know, like someone walking around with a blower outside.
Oh, that drives you bananas.
Yeah, it's just as soon as it goes off and you're like, okay, it's finally over, and then it starts up again. You're just like, it's that kind of thing. But I think when you have the control of it, it helps.
Yeah, that makes sense. Also, for anybody has the question about supplies like that and things like that, Ashley Braven, our friend Ashley, she's got this great channel, and she talks a lot about different art supplies for how do you describe the art?
Disabled.
Disabled art supplies and things like that. But there may be things there, like different textures of things and different things that might be helpful to people. But she does a lot of reviews on a lot of different products, and she's got a lot of different things that she talks about. So that might be something that would be helpful for people too.
So just so you know, when I'm doing this, I am not just I'm thinking of physical shapes. I'm looking at these as shapes. And so that's why you'll see me erasing and or redefining and defining stuff, as I'm trying to see them as shapes, and that isn't always possible when doing something like Art Nouveau, because you have, see, I did that and I knew I was going to hate that, but this part where these tangents come together, I just knew that was going to be something I was going to absolutely despise. But the other thing I do is if I am doing something for just a sketchbook, I'm not going to worry too much about it. You got to let some of this stuff go. There's a bad tangent right there again. If I was doing this as like a big painting piece, I would have worked all of that stuff out in the pencils as much as possible.
So here's a crazy question. The paper that you used for the dragon piece,
Yeah.
do you like the paper that you're using more than the Arches paper that you used for the dragon piece?
The dragon piece was not very good, I don't think, for watercolor. It just wasn't very good at all.
You didn't enjoy that paper, I know that much.
The paper, yeah.
I just was curious if you're enjoying this. You seem to be...
I don't enjoy this paper much more, but I'm sure, I feel very confident that when I do the watercolors, I'll like it a lot better.
You think? You really...
Yeah.
Okay, now how are you determining that
Because
this
of the
early?
texture, a very textured water paper just makes watercolor look so much better.
And do you think this is going to soak up the watercolor well?
I do. It's Fabriano. It's good paper.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of Fabriano, but
I bought a Fabriano sketchbook in Venice that I haven't used yet.
yeah.
I really want to do that. Use that. Okay. Carnelian Clementine says, hi, my parents aren't supportive of LGBT, so I'm just going to come out here. I am gender fluid and asexual, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Oh, well, welcome. And you are always going to be welcome here.
We are so honored that you would want to come out here with us. We are grateful that you are here and you are safe here. So, and we love you. People, hold on. Hey, Scott, I always wanted to try starting watercolor. My sketchbook is 140 GSM. Should I start in it or a new watercolor sketchbook? That's Arun.
140 GSM is
That's not
very light,
Yeah,
but
it's not thick paper.
let me see. I'm gonna go and grab.
The Be Creative.
No. This is the Canson. So this is on the low end, and this is 185 GSM. This is what I would use when I first started doing watercolors, and it's good enough to learn on. But this is 185. So just work. If you've got 140 GSM paper, work with it, learn.
Yeah.
And when you feel ready to move on to something bigger, then move on to. I use 300 GSM. I use 100% cotton paper. This Be Creative sketchbook is only $15, and it is the best paper I've ever used. And this is 100% cotton. It's 300 GSM. Really good paper. This is what I would recommend when you can spend $15 on a sketchbook. I would try this paper. Compare this paper to the paper you're using, and you'll see the difference. Your watercolors will be more vibrant, and I think you're just really going to like it. This is a $75 sketchbook. There's always something nicer, but for me, the $15 Be Creative is the one that I like the best.
And you know what? On that note too, I'll throw this out there, and I don't paint, right? So this is strictly from a fountain pen perspective. There will always be a sketchbook out there that is a better quality, a higher price point. There will always be ones out there that are lower quality, lower price point. And you have to find what you like. If you're starting out, start cheaper and find something that you really like maybe a little bit later. But you don't have to use the best stuff out of the gate.
Yeah.
By any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, definitely use the most affordable thing, so you can
Yeah.
really play around without worrying too much about it.
Yeah. But even so, there are more expensive sketchbooks, like you said, like this one, but you prefer the Be Creative, which would
Yeah.
be considered more on the moderately priced side.
Yeah.
It's going to be a what you feel most comfortable with.
See, I don't like these lines.
Really?
I thought, oh, what I was thinking of doing was these are going to be more like, where's the, it'll literally be at the bottom. I'm sure it will be because, why not? Here we go. So instead of doing the lighting or the lines like this, I thought I would do it a little bit more like this, where it's just these sparse like lines. But as soon as I started doing that, I'm going, this isn't. So I think what I need to do is come in with, I have to define the shapes and the shadows a little more here, and then kind of let that flow. And get a little bit lighter as it kind of goes out away from the face.
Can you do a video on perspective and anatomy?
Yeah, I've got videos shorts on both of those, but I will try to do longer videos as I start to make more videos. But there are shorts.
Presently, there are shorts. Or is
Yeah.
it in the Art Hacks playlist?
Should be, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So start there, and then we'll go from there. Coral Create says, I always make sure to look through Scott's recent videos because YouTube won't do its job and notify me about them. I am not happy with YouTube. Thank you, Coral. We appreciate that. Go over the line with a thicker marker. That's 95 Bravo.
Yeah.
Where did you get your palette for watercolor from? I've been looking for it for ages, and yours looks perfect.
It is, I think it's called a San Francisco Slant, and there is a link to it under resources.
All of the supplies that Scott uses are under that listing. And one of the mods, could you put in the stuff that Scott uses? Let's see.
You can hear the pen
Yeah.
kind of getting caught on the tooth of the paper, though. To me, it sounds like when you're getting a cleaning done at the dentist, and they got that little scraper.
Oh, I hate the scraper. How much GSM would you recommend for alcohol markers?
For alcohol markers, I think the best paper that I've used is the Ohuhu Sketchbook, and I don't know what GSM it is. I don't think it has any of that information.
Bethany would know what GSM is. Bethany keeps all the little nuggets of information.
Yeah, it doesn't say.
That was the best one for markers, though, the Ohuhu Sketchbook.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah.
But in general, I also use Bristol paper. And I don't know what the GSM of that is, but it is thick. It's probably at least a 150 GSM.
Yeah. Oh, Mushroom Girl has been feeling incredibly uninspired, but is starting a new journal to try new mediums, and I hope it'll help. Wish me luck.
I'm sure it will. Good
for
luck.
you. That's a great idea. I love that. Absolutely love that. You never know where you're going to be inspired or what's going to hit that spark, you know? They like the ASMR of the pen on the paper.
Do you? Okay.
Hi, Scott. I would like to get into art, but my little sister is really into it and she's really good at it. And I'm afraid of doing it because I don't want to invade her art from
That is so nice of you.
Yeah.
That really is. If it's something that you don't want to discourage her, especially if like on one hand, I was thinking, oh, it would be nice if you guys made art time together, where you guys made art together. But if she's very impressionable and going to say, oh, you're so much better than me, it really just depends on your relationship and how you're able to let her know that
You're not
both
invading her space.
you're not competing. It's not slices of a pie where only so many people can do it. The other thing that you might want to consider is there a type of art that you might want to do that isn't similar to hers? If she draws anime, would you do a little more realistic? If she likes painting, would you like markers? Or maybe it's something along those lines is possible. But I think it's very sweet that you're thinking of her like that.
Do you have any bigger paintings like the dragon and centaur in mind?
I do. I'm taking a little break of thinking of that too much, but the Dragon and Centaur hasn't sold as much as I had printed, because when I did the Gothic Vampire, I didn't think anybody was going to buy it, and a lot of you bought it, and I had to keep reprinting and reprinting and reprinting. And from the response I was getting for the Dragon and Centaur, I assumed that it was going to be close to what we did for the Gothic Vampire, and it hasn't been. So there's a little bit of disappointment that I'm going through, where I think I've lost some of that momentum that I had, like, okay, and then I'm going to do this one, I'm going to do that. I'm like, no one likes my work, my art's horrible, that kind of feeling. And I know enough to know that I just need to take a little time and lick my wounds and just get over it, and then I'll feel the encouragement to try again. But it's just one of those things. I hope by being open with all of this, it helps some of you, and that's what I'm always trying to do, is let you know that the feelings of anxiety and the feelings of doubt and disappointment are universal, and it shouldn't stop us from moving forward and creating art. And so that's why I'm telling you this stuff, not for pity, but for
so you don't feel alone,
to normalize these feelings.
Yeah, 100%. How's it going with the cat who lives in your backyard? Oh, well, she's not nice. Thank you, Mr. Clock.
Cats are jerks.
In her defense, she's feral. In my defense, I'm a dog person much more than a cat person, and it's difficult to. I always want animals to love me, and so it has been an interesting.
It keeps scratching Dawn every time she goes to pet it.
Yeah. Anyway. Cinia says, hello, Scott. Today is the day I begin my work as a full-time artist. Thank you for being a push to follow my dreams.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's
Congratulations.
Great. Hey, Jamie Brown is here and on her 4th cup of coffee. Wow. You're one ahead of me this morning. Guys, it really is okay. It's fine.
What?
They're like, but the Gothic Vampire came out around Christmas and, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it's fine. They feel bad.
No, again, I mean, please don't feel bad. I'm just... Do you know how there are creators, or most creators are like, everything's great, we're selling everything, everything's, I'm amazing, and look at how much money I have, and I'm so awesome. And I don't like that, and I I think it gives unreal expectations as to the life of an artist. And, an artist's life is constantly dealing with imposter syndrome and constantly worrying about where your next paycheck is going to be and constantly worried that your work isn't as good as you want, and it will never be as good. So, and that's not meant in a negative way. It's just there was no one there for me when I became a professional artist to let me know that that was normal. And so I just want to be there to let you guys know that, it's not all roses and sunshine. It's tough, but it's also beautiful and it's worth it. But we do have disappointments. We do have expectations. And a lot of that is also an autistic thing too. I'm learning that, with autism comes, if you change the plan, if things don't go according to what we talked about, you get very disappointed. And so this is something that I'm realizing is not true to everybody, but it is true to me.
We have several friends today that have come out in the chat.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And I know I've missed a couple of them, naming you by name, but I just want you all to know you are so welcome here. And we are so happy that you're here and that you trust us to be here.
Please be safe with what you decide to put out there online.
That was also the next thing, was some of them are not safe where they are at home or wherever to be able to talk about this.
When you're doing something like that, just try not to do it in a place that's, don't post it someplace that's permanent, that people might see, or whatever. If you don't think that that's going to be safe. I mean, there are some states and some countries where that is not a safe place to say that. So just do what's safe for you until you can be in a place where you are allowed to be who you are and love who you want to love.
Yep. Welcome to Chillis. At what point does someone need to stop only using reference to draw?
I never.
If Scott gets to that point, we'll let you know, but he's 55 and he still uses reference, so there you go.
Da Vinci, Michelangelo, Monet, Van Gogh, they all used reference.
Rockwell.
I mean, they all used reference. And so there's never a reason not to use reference. Life is the inspiration. Life is how we, you use models, you go outdoors and you sketch. Drawing from your head is something for cartoonists. It's something for comic book artists. It is not something for traditional, or like illustrators or painters or fine artists. We work from life. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
And there is no right or wrong. There is no, you got to do it this way or that way. The same way I'm saying every major artist is using or has used reference doesn't mean you have to use reference. I'm just saying whoever's telling you that real artists don't use reference isn't a real artist and knows nothing about real art. The Mona Lisa was not painted out of Da Vinci's mind. He had a woman pose for that. Michelangelo had people pose for David. Van Gogh's self-portraits weren't done out of his memory. He was sitting in front of a mirror. Monet went out into the fields and he painted what he saw. So please,
it's interesting when you look into some of these artists. Remember maybe it was Monet, but there were from painting outside in a field, there was pollen and dust in the paints that got mixed in with the paints. Remember
Oh,
that?
Soroya had the
There you
sand
go.
from
Yeah.
the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and yeah, so there you go. North Jackson, I think that would be a great question for Ashley Braven. I'm not putting you off, but I think she would be better to answer that than Scott would. Lumine gets anxiety using expensive sketchbooks, so bought a cheap one and feels much better to work in.
Oh, that's fantastic.
You worked with something that bothered you and you made it better, which is awesome. They would like a long form face tutorial.
Okay, I did a long form eye tutorial, but I will. Tutorials aren't really my favorite thing to make because it's usually here's the best way to do this, and I don't believe that there is, and I don't believe that I learned the best way. I've figured stuff out as best as I could, which was the best thing for the way my brain worked. But I will continue to do the best that I can in hopes that it helps. But
You have to look at how you learn best. And if that's by watching somebody draw or by reading it in a book or something along those lines, you've gotten really good over the years at figuring out how you figure things out. And I think that's a skill that has served you well over time. What makes you, how you work with things, how things,
yeah.
come out. And I think that's something other people might be able to learn from. Sky uses Winsor and Newton watercolors.
I hopefully will be using Winsor and Newton watercolors soon.
I'm assuming maybe Wednesday. since
Yeah,
it's
I'm
already
like looking at
10:08,
this and I'm going,
and
yeah, this might be a
Yeah.
watercolor Wednesday thing.
yeah.
I'm sorry that these are taking longer, but
Don't apologize. Everybody's here for it.
I am doing it across 2 pages, and
You are
I
indeed.
think
You are indeed. You should look at some of the longer form ones, the lives where Scott drew stuff about the dragon.
there is a dragon playlist.
Oh, good. Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
There's a whole playlist. I'm gonna try to make just a single long video, but right now there's a playlist.
There are several people who had it that they were going to paint every day or draw every day, and they have not been able to follow through with that.
So I made a video last week, draw everything every day, and a lot of people, were saying, "Well, I can't draw every day." No, that's not. The everything part was the part that was important. You don't have to draw every day. You do, and here's the thing: art shouldn't be something that you're forcing yourself to do. It should be something that you want to do. There's a video I made on Saturday, I think, that talked about that. How art is like gaming, and the way that I look at it is, I like to game. I like to play video games. No one's forcing me to play video games. I don't need someone to say, "Hey, you got to play video games every day."
Sit down and play, Scott.
Yeah, I do it because I like to. And art should be like that as well. And so just if you're not drawing every day, it's because art is just something that you want to do from time to time. It is not something you're going to make a career of. You understand? If it is something you want to make a career of, then you should be wanting to draw every day, because it is like gaming, something that you look forward to doing. You don't know. You should never make a career in something in the arts, whether it would be acting, dancing, music, art, painting, whatever, because you think you're going to get rich doing it. That's not the, get into finance, do something like that where that's where people make a lot of money. You get into the arts because you have a passion to do it. You do it because your soul needs to do it, and that's why. And so again, if you have to force yourself to do something, then your soul doesn't want it. You're not, hoping to do that. Art should be that thing that you love to do, that you want to do exclusively for the rest of your life. That's what it is.
Can I give a different perspective on that?
Sure.
I have always wanted to keep a regular journal. Always. Was never good at it until about 4 years ago. So I get it when people get frustrated because they want to do something. They genuinely want to do it. But for some reason, they keep getting pulled away from doing that, or they feel like they have other things that are more important, or they don't feel like giving themselves that 30 minutes or whatever it is to do it. I'm going to be
Well, you don't want to make journaling your career.
No,
that's
I don't.
That's the difference is
But
people, well, that's the whole draw everything every day is not a mandate for something that you want to do as a hobby. It is if you want to improve your art and you want to take this you want to become, like you don't journal to try to become the best journalist, or journaler or whatever it is.
No.
You journal because it makes you happy.
Yes.
So you do it whenever you feel like it. If you want to become somebody who does this for a living, you want to become the best at it, then you have to do it every day and you have to be critical of it. You have to look, there's so much more that goes to it. And that's where the draw everything every day, the draw everything every day is so you can draw everything
all sorts of different
to
things.
Train your eyes
I understand.
And your hands.
See, I took that differently. I took it as though this is something that they want to do. Maybe they don't necessarily want to become a professional artist, but they do want to include art in their life on some level every day. And that's where I was coming from.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just hard to make that time to do things every single day. And so I wasn't coming from the professional side of things. I was just coming from I want to do this on a daily basis kind of thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get you're 100% right on the professional. Like you need to get better. You need to do, to
if this is something
progress.
that you want to do, then you should have the passion to want to do it. You shouldn't have to force yourself to do these things. When I was in high school, I would draw every day. I didn't want to do math. I didn't want to do accounting. I didn't want to take a music course or anything like that. I just wanted to draw and ride skateboards, And
be a rock star.
I didn't want to be a rock
with
star.
really long hair. You did want to have really long, cool hair.
Yeah, of course
though.
I did.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's just really a matter of that. It's not a mandate that you need to draw every day for fun. It is only really if that's something that you want to do. And again, that's just my opinion too.
It has been suggested that if you scan this, since we probably are not going to get to the watercolor today, this might be a nice color.
Is this really? Because I don't feel like it's really something that is...
No, it has been suggested. So therefore, I think we should do it. That it would be appreciated. 4 or more cups of coffee are not really good for you. And I would reply back to 4 or more cups of coffee or tea are really good for keeping people sane so they don't lash out at other people. That's just my 2 cents in the world from the woman who is now on her 3rd cup of tea today already. So it's not for my health. It's for other people's health that I live with. And yes, multiple people have texted me and said to me that the Ohuhu sketchbooks are 200 GSM.
Oh, okay.
So thank you for that. That is appreciated. Specifically, Steph Nerd.
So
Appreciate
what
you.
I'm doing right now is I'm giving a little bit more of value. So I'm adding some black so that all of the line weights aren't the same. You see, I'm creating some dark shapes.
Yes.
So that way you can kind of get a sense of at least where the shapes are coming from. Especially if you guys are asking me to turn this into an inked
Coloring
gosh,
page.
Yeah, boy. I was not, this isn't really my normal style, and I'm not working on paper that I normally work on, but hey, yeah, let's just leave his inks exposed for the whole world to see. It was like, I could clean this up a little bit when I get the colors on top of it, but no.
Nope, they like it just the way it is.
The world can judge my horrible inking and...
Would you like me to burn it all down? I've been threatening matches for a while. We can just burn it all down. Let's make a big pile. Whoosh. Torch it. Ashley B says, do you think the disappointment from the painting hits harder because of the autism? I have an autistic son and he wants to be an artist. Your insight would be valuable so I can support him when the time comes.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier in case you weren't around, but what I am learning about autism is that we had a plan. Everything was supposed to go this way, and now someone's changed it, or now everything went wrong. And there's just that difficulty in reconciling that this is not how it was supposed to go. This was not what we talked about, everybody said this piece, this dragon and centaur piece was just as good, if not better, than the Gothic vampire. And instead of selling, we'll say 5 copies, I've only sold 1 copy, and it's very disappointing. And I think those with autism have a harder time processing that. I've found that we went to Spain for work, and we took a really long trip because our son wanted to take the train from Paris to Spain, and it took like all day long.
God, it was such a long ride.
And I had been there before, and there was a hotel we stayed in, and there was a particular room that had a beautiful view of the ocean that I had planned for us and everything. And so before we left, I made sure that all of our plans and that everything was set up, because I need to know that everything is planned out. I need to know what's coming. And then we got there and they said the room isn't, wasn't available. And I said, but I reserved this particular room. And I'm sorry, I don't know what to do. And I just said, okay, we're going to go home. And I just wanted to go home because that's not what we agreed on. That wasn't the plan. That wasn't everything. And it turned into a big fight with me and Donna and everything else. But
oh no, I was ready to kill you.
Yeah, but the thing is that I'm also inversely the type of person that if I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And so I'm someone that you can count on to do exactly what I say I'm going to do. I say, I'm going to have this done by this time. I will have it done by this time. I will be there at this time. I will be there at this time. Because that's the plan. And everything, all of my internal clock is set up to be, I am constantly aware what time it is and how much time it is. I'm very good at calculating how long it takes for me to do something.
Now, that being said, you also assume that everyone else calculates.
And I get disappointed when they're not.
That is correct. But that is not for you to say that other people can do things in this amount of time.
No.
When you assume it should only take X amount of time.
Yeah. But again, I also get disappointed when, like, my cousin is horrible at committing to anything. So we say, hey, we're having dinner for Thanksgiving at this time. His answer is, we say, you want to come? He says, I'll try, is what he always says. He never says, yeah, I'll be there. And then it was at 4:00. He'll show up at 6:00.
That's why you don't like the I'm trying.
Yeah.
That's where you get it from.
Well, I commit. Just commit. Make the decision and just do that thing. But again, I'm learning about autism too. And of course not everybody's experience with autism is the same, but from what I'm
No, it's all
learning,
different.
it is definitely there's that disappointment because plans were changed. If you tell a child, "Hey, we're going
Oh boy.
to Disneyland on Saturday," and then say someone gets sick or Disneyland gets shut down, you say they're going to have a meltdown because we had plans. That's it's like it's in the calendar. It's it's written in stone. We're doing this.
I mean, that being said, I think there has to be some grace for, regardless whether you're autistic or not, the world is not a consistent place.
No,
so
but
like you said, so say like Disneyland got shut down or something, you have to teach the skills or learn the skills that allow you to make those plans, but at the same time still, yes, there'll be the disappointment, but sometimes things happen. And I know that's
you have to.
1,000
You can
times
say
harder.
that, but it doesn't mean that that's going to make
Right. I
someone
know,
who's autistic feel any more better about it. And
but that's also learning to live in the world with the
honey, that's like
parameters that
saying
you
learning
have.
to live in a world that's going to have a lot of noise. That doesn't mean that they can. They have to have some sort of
But
tools.
let me ask you this question. In the example that you gave with the trip, we had traveled thousands and thousands of miles.
Yeah.
And for you to have that epic of a situation, it would have made more sense at the time for you to go, this isn't what I agreed to. How are you going to mitigate it to the people at the hotel? Instead of the meltdown.
I did, but again, they just said, "I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do," and that's just it's that dismissiveness that just infuriates me.
Yeah.
But again, these are things that the world isn't built. Like you said, it doesn't do
It
what it's
doesn't.
supposed to. People don't do the things they say they're going to do.
Right.
They make promises they can't commit to. They say grandiose things that they have no intention of doing. And I think for someone with autism, that is a very confusing and frustrating world to live in. I mean, that's what happened to us with the movie.
Yeah. No, I get that.
know?
I get that.
So many people promised us, distribution or this or that or whatever, and then
No, I get that.
didn't do it.
Let me ask you this question then too, because it seems, because I live with you, do you think that because you've had all these situations over the years, because your fuse, shall we say, between an event happening and a meltdown, so to speak, has become so much shorter over the years? Do you think that's because of all the things that you've had to deal with? That now you're just kind of like, dude, either do what you're going to say what you're going to say, or don't even say
What
anything
Donna's
at all.
talking about is like people reach out to us probably once a week wanting us to do another Animal Crackers movie or Pet Robots or The Dreamland Chronicles, one of my other books. And I just don't have the patience to hear more promises from people who have no intention of doing what they say they can do. And so I have lost. I don't put myself in that situation where I'm going to get disappointed again. I don't. I go, look, when you have the money to make the movie, you let me know. But I don't want to sit there and talk about it. I don't want to get on phone calls. I don't want you to promise me things that either you have the money or you don't. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing now. And I don't do that. And I think, of course, that's probably not the best from a business point of view because, a lot of
limit yourself.
a lot of that industry is Hollywood is based on people. I'm trying to think of a better word for BSing, but who
They want the back and forth. They want the,
who lie.
am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it?
Well,
Am
it's
I
just
gonna do
based
it? Am I
on
not
lies, you
Yeah,
know,
well,
and that's the thing is that it is just based on lies and deception and promises that they can't keep, and that's how stuff happens. And I'm not built for that. I'm an overtly honest person who has to know that I'm working with honest people, and I just don't know if that's possible in Hollywood.
Okay, so I think this is an important comment too. Andrew said, and this was a while back, says having ADHD or other neurodivergent issues can also be a big hindrance to consistency with literally anything, even things that you're passionate about. And there are a lot of people who feel that way as well.
Yeah.
A lot of people have stated that is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah.
So
And again, I just consistency is not like working out. Like no one enjoys working out, right? Consistency with art is I love making art, so I constantly want to draw. That's consistency. No one gets into art for the same reasons that you would working out, because it's good for you. It's you don't make art because I gotta make art again today. You don't do that.
No,
you
don't.
make art because you love making art. So
Right.
that consistency is because you love it. Like I said, if you think of it like games, no one goes, I gotta play more Zelda today, you know? You don't do that. You do it because you want to, and
Yeah.
you'd rather be doing that than anything else.
Right.
So that
Right.
with that established, if you're going to be doing this and you go, well, I love this so much, I want to make a go of it, then why not stop drawing your original character over and over again, which gets you nowhere, and just start drawing every day. Now, if the thought of drawing anything other than your original character is cumbersome and burdensome, then don't. Just draw your regular character. Just don't expect to make a career of it. Do you see what I'm saying? If you're doing it for fun, if you're doing it because you love it, fantastic.
Yeah.
Draw your original character till the day you die and love every minute of it. But if you're saying, I want more out of my art, then you have to include the drawing everything
Right,
part.
right.
You know? I hope that makes sense.
Right. Okay.
What time is it? Is it?
It is 10:29. We're not
Oh,
there yet. The
okay.
clock hasn't bonged yet. Okay, so no, I am not going to torch everything. I just had a visual in my head of taking all the sketchbooks that Scott is not happy with and all the journals I'm not happy with that I never filled and putting them in my driveway and lighting them with a match. I'm not torching the world. Everybody calm down.
When did you say something like that?
Oh, everybody's panicking. And yes, multiple cups of tea or coffee are for the safety of those around me. We'll just go there.
Okay, I'm gonna give this headband that I did is gonna just need a little bit of texture. So I'm gonna give it just a little.
Ellen says, that is a very philosophical Monday. Nixia says, thank you for coming to our TED Talk. I know, right? God, you guys, I'm telling you, seriously. This has been a Monday, right?
Well, I
Been
hope
a Monday. We've hit some heavy topics today.
I'm learning about autism as well, and if anything that I'm learning about can help somebody else or somebody's
Yeah.
child or something, then fantastic. Just
Yeah.
I'm not a doctor. I am somebody who is learning about something that I've been diagnosed with and coming to
We're-
terms with it.
We're
And
learning together.
yeah.
We're learning together because after 30 some odd years of dealing and mitigating and Scott masking and me mitigating things for him and all of that kind of stuff, it's refreshing to have the diagnosis. It is also frustrating to have the diagnosis. And then at the same time, it is like you're scratching your head going, now what do you do? So basically, we don't know what we're doing. We're just kind of like figuring it out as we go, everybody. So, and Scott does not have ADHD. So I would refer you to anything Bethany can offer you with that because, and I'm throwing her under the bus here and I apologize, dearest friend of mine. She has ADHD. So she follows through on projects and has her own ways of getting her paintings and things done. And Autumn says lip service in Hollywood is the phrase you're looking for, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, how much is the sketchbook you're working in right now?
These are $75 each. I'm going to make a video on it today or tomorrow for the hot press one. Oh, that's not it. That's the... I was like, boy, that's heavy. So last week I worked on the hot press one and I did it and I did a gouache piece. And I threw everything at it. Gouache, acrylic gouache, markers, acrylic markers.
He did.
Colored pencils, and it did really, really good.
Yeah.
So that it
didn't go through at all.
There's no way. You can't you'd have to, I mean, Large Marge would have to work on it for a bit. That's my electric eraser to try to get it to go, to rip it. This is very thick, very good 100% cotton Fabriano paper.
Okay, so Rivi says, I can say, as I have aged, my autistic fuse has shortened.
Really? Okay.
I see it with you. I've seen it with you very recently. And Pacer says, good morning.
Hey, Pacer. Okay, we will say part 1 is done. I will either finish this up and scan it in before Wednesday. Is probably what I'll do. I'll probably do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be a good idea. And then you can watercolor it on Wednesday for Watercolor Wednesday. And there we go.
Thank you all for hanging out with us. And don't forget, there is a playlist for all of my videos, but just look at, I'm going to probably take a lot of my older content and turn that into longer content. I'm moving everything over from shorts to videos. Yeah. And so it'll go from 1 minute to 3 to 5 minutes, depending on how much I could talk. But I do my best.
I do not ever see you doing 25-minute videos. I just don't. He has a hard enough time with 3-minute videos. So anyways, so there we are. I hope you all feel a little lighter today after our conversation and maybe a little less alone in the world. Because we love you all and we're grateful that you're here and we appreciate you. So there we go. All right. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Bye.
Have a marvelous Monday. Bye.